Hi there, this is Linda, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today I'm putting together my first spread for 2026 Project Life. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, you guys, this is the first Project Life spread of 2026. I am going to be continuing Project Life in basically the same format that I did last year. If you're not familiar with that, I'm using a 9x12 album and I'm doing near weekly spreads, which essentially means that I create the dates for my spread. That's usually going to be a Monday through a Sunday, but I'm going to adjust as fits my life, primarily around travel. This is the first week of the year, but because the week started, the first was not a Monday, I think it was a Thursday. I didn't want to just do Thursday through Sunday, so I made this the 1st through the 5th, which is Thursday through the following Monday. And then the next week or the next spread will just be 6 days. And then I'll get back on track with 7-day weeks. I think that ended up working out for as far as the number of photos and stories I have that I want to include. So I do these spreads, so they're about one a week or so, and I usually end up with about 55 to 60 spreads at the end of the year, and I fit it into 2 albums. I do have another video setting up my album and creating my title page. This was my title page. Here I have photos of each of us in the family and some introduction to my one little word and stuff. It's pretty similar to what I've done in the past, but I did talk more about how I set up my album and approach this project if you haven't seen that one. So for this week, I am going to be using the Wisdom and Wonder collection from Coco Daisy, which is their January kit. I love this kit. It's so pretty. It's very snow and calming, which I think goes really well with January, especially where I live in upstate New York. So let's see what stories I had. I didn't have a ton going on this week, so I have quite a few cat photos. I'm breaking in my new journals. And let's see, I put away Christmas. I always do that on the 1st, so I have a little bit about that. And I have a photo of Pumpkin lounging on the couch. And then, let's see, my friend came to visit and to bring her new baby, which Pumpkin was not sure about. And then we started getting our bathroom painted, which started on the 5th, which was the following Monday, and then finished on the 6th. So that will be in the next spread. So let me just lay this like this to start, just to get an idea of the pictures that I have included. So I'm gonna go through the kit first and decide what I want here. So this card, I knew I wanted to be my title card, so I'm gonna put that here. If you've followed me in the past, you know, or if you're familiar with Coco Daisy, you know that they do a monthly calendar on a 3x4 card. This year I decided that I'm going to put those in my mini-me albums. And if you missed that, I have a separate video setting those up and kind of sharing how that's going to be. So I'll link that in the description box below, but they're not in the kit right now because they're already been moved over there. And then I also thought this one was super cute for just the new year, to add a quote in here. I also have this that's from the stationery kit. It's a little postcard, but it would fit. I don't think I'm going to use it. And let me go through the 3x4 cards. Okay, so I kind of went through the cards and sorted sort of what I was thinking. I'm gonna pull over this planner. So if you are new here or just for a refresher, this is my take a note. And in my take a note each week, I document kind of what I did that week. And here, I'll show you from December, like the last week of the year. So this is typically what I use as a jumping off point to do my project life. I have everything in here, and then I kind of know what the basic stories are to tell. Because I wanted to do this as soon as I possibly could, I have not yet put my stories in here. You can see I did a little bit of, I printed the photos, but I need to go back and add those stories in. So what I have instead is my everyday carry, which this is kind of my on-the-go planner, and I don't worry about it being as pretty. I also use this collection in setting up this spread. But part of what I do in here is just jot down quick notes of what happened that day during the day. And then I use that to figure out what I want to put in my take a note and kind of clear up and like organize. So sometimes these are like messy notes that I'll remember what it means. If I look at it a couple days later, I won't remember if I look at it like weeks later. Sometimes I put other notes in here that don't necessarily go in here. Like I'll put some like health related notes and just like other little things. And then I use that to create this, and then I use this to create this. So hopefully that makes sense. So right now it is January 9th when I'm putting this together. So I fell a little bit behind on my take a note because I was finishing up my 2025 journals and everything. So I do need to go and do that later today, but most likely, but I just wanted to get this one done first. So I am going to use this as a reference this week instead, and it's a little out of order, but that's okay. So for this card, I'm thinking I want to do a journaling card about January 1st, and I liked this one. I also had done this one as an option. It's not really about resolutions, but just kind of like starting the year. And I like both of these. I don't love this blue next to that. So I'm thinking maybe I'll use the resolutions one. Or I could use this one and like put it here. I don't know. I think I'm going to do that one. And then let's see. So I always have like a bullet point list of little stories. So I think I'm going to use this card for that. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it. And then on the 3rd, my friend came to visit with her baby. So I think I'm going to have that. And then I also need something to do the story about the painting that started on the 5th. So maybe I could use this one for the painting and just kind of going about getting started on New Year's projects. And then this one can be my bullet point list for stories from the week. And then I have space for like one filler. I might actually move this guy here. And then these were the ones that I had pulled as possible ones. They're all so pretty. This one I could also cut out and like put on top of something, but I think I'm not going to use that one. I really love the sentiment on there. I love this sentiment. I also really liked like this pattern, but I think I want to do one of the sentiment ones instead. Really like this one too. Let's see. I don't really want the sentiment though next to the other one, so maybe I'm going to move this guy over here and put a sentiment here. I think I'm going to go with this one. Okay. So now that I've narrowed down my cards, I'm going to put these ones back in my tray and see what else I have to play with here. So we've got these stickers. I've got some more die cuts in here. These ones are like more vellum ones. These are from the stationery kit. These ones are the cardstock ones. I've got this roll of these. I love these. They don't stay on the roll very well though, but they're like little stamps. I've been using those in my journal. And then we've got a couple of different sticky note pads this month. This one might be cute for to like add journaling onto a photo. Not sure which photo though. That's a possibility. I had a little pocket here, but I'm not going to use that. Those little stars. I would use these for my bullet point list, but I have this thing, so I don't necessarily need to add anything. And then we have the stamp. And then I definitely want to use some of the chipboard, like this Welcome 2026. I for sure want to use that because if I don't, I probably won't have anywhere else to use it. And let's see, what else do we have over here? Got my rub-ons, specialty papers. I've got these puffy alphas, a lot of stickers. Okay, so I think I'm gonna start with the focus on using some of these. So let's see, I have these words. I wanna see what these look like. So this one and this one are different. I think this came in the die cut set in the scrapbook kit, and these ones came as a separate package. And these ones are on vellum. So I think that there's might be too many of these to use them all in the spread. And I don't know that the sentiments work with what I have, but I think I can use this one somewhere. Okay, and let's see what else we have in here. Maybe I'll put this on here because something like this, I want to kind of document when it happened specifically. Okay, I think I'm gonna go ahead and put you guys on voiceover so I can kind of fiddle with this and start my journaling and get this one put together.
I'm so excited to be diving into my 2026 project life. For this first spread, because this was only 5 days, I didn't really have a ton of stories and photos, and that's why I had merged the next Monday into the spread, even though at the time that I planned that, I didn't realize that the painting project was going to be split between 2 spreads, but it ends up working. So I really, really loved this title card. For my page protectors, I'm using the ones from scrapbook.com. So when you see the page protector orientation for the left-hand side, it's got the 4x6 pocket on the right and that 3x4 in the top left corner. The ones from Ali Edwards have them flipped, so the 4x6 is on the left. I prefer the Ali Edwards layout, but those page protectors have the wrong number of holes and they are harder to get. The ones from scrapbook.com seem to be in stock consistently, which is why I've kind of switched to purely using the ones from scrapbook.com. I do have links in the description box below if you want to pick some of those up. I do get a small commission from those, which is helpful to support my channel, but I recommend those if you are starting out in the 9x12, but you could definitely use the ones from Ali Edwards and Studio Calico as well. So moving on to what I'm doing, I decided to use this resolutions card to just journal about January 1st. So I love January 1st and it's become kind of my favorite holiday as an adult, which I know is kind of silly because who is excited about January 1st? It's usually December 31st that people celebrate, but I am a morning person, so I don't like staying up till midnight and I don't really drink. So like the midnight and the New Year's Eve kind of celebration stuff just doesn't really do it for me. Instead, I like getting up on the 1st. I love that it's always a free day off of work, and I like starting the year out fresh with my goals, my new planner, and I always put away Christmas on the 1st. So I journaled about that and kind of how I approached the 1st this year and how happy I was to kind of have that fresh start in my house of all the Christmas stuff getting put away. So I have a couple of photos from that. I have the photo of my Christmas ornaments going back in the box, and then a photo of my bookshelf there that has I put my December daily albums out during the month of December, and I rotate them with my Week in the Life albums. So I had put the December daily ones back in their bin and brought out the Week in the Life ones again. That finished up that left-hand side. Then moving on to the right-hand side, I also worked on a puzzle during this first week of January. It's super cold where I live, so doing a puzzle is just a great cozy winter activity, and I was really, really loving it so much. I really want to do another one, but I just have so much I need to get done before vacation, so I'm going to wait until I get back from vacation to do another puzzle. The photo of the bathroom in progress there, I put that date die cut on it because I wanted to document specifically which date during the week this occurred, because I can see that being something I want to look back on in the future, especially because this week is kind of like wonky dates. It's not Monday through Sunday. So I use the small alpha stamp that I have in my stash to stamp January, and then I pulled over these puffy number stickers from my stash to add a 5 on there for the 5th, and I thought that worked really well. I'm also just kind of figuring out how I want everything to balance. These 2 cards, I'm going to attach them together with some washi tape on the back so they can go in that 4x6 pocket. So here you can see the page protector layout from the front side has the 4x6 on the left. And it has taken some getting used to have the layout like that, because I was using up some of my Ali Edwards branded ones last year. And I just recently ran out of the ones with the 4x6 pockets. Part of me why I prefer the other orientation is I like to always have my title card in that top left corner. And I want this page protector layout as an option to do a 4x6 title card like I did in this spread, but I'm going to learn to live with it. So I pulled over these puffy alpha stickers from my stash because I wanted to write Wally, which is my friend's kid, the baby that we met. One of my friends that lives a couple hours north of us recently had a baby, and we were first meeting the baby during this week, which was exciting. And I don't know why I used these puffy letters from my stash and not the puffy alpha that came with the kit, because it was a beautiful blue. And while I'm watching this back to do the editing, I don't know why I did that. So pretend those are the puffy blue ones, because they really should be. And either way, though, it doesn't really matter. They're both really nice. And I just wanted a title to kind of explain what this journaling was about, and that it goes with the photo to the right of it. You saw me hesitate when I was adhering these 2 cards together, thinking that maybe I wanted the picture with the baby to be next to it, but it is still next to it, just not in the same pocket. So I was happy with how that came out. On this card here, I'm going to do a bullet point list of stories from the week. If you are new to Project Life or my channel, what I like to do in my Project Life spreads is include a bullet point list of micro stories from the week. And this is where I do all those little things like, that we got takeout from a specific place, or that I'm enjoying working on a puzzle, or just like little micro stories from the week that you wouldn't ordinarily document in a scrapbook layout. And for me, that's kind of my favorite part of Project Life. However, this spread is only 5 days, and I did have a full journaling card about January 1st. So I really only have 4 days of stuff to pull from to fill this card, and I struggled a little bit to get it full, but I did. So that worked out. This is the only photo I got with my friend's baby. I just didn't take a photo while we were hanging out of him. And then I took this photo as they were leaving because he was crying and Pumpkin was concerned. So he brought over his stuffed bear, which I thought was adorable. And so I took a picture of that and put it in here and just wrote on that chipboard saying goodbye to Wally. And then I have this looking forward card. And I thought that this card would be great for journaling about the painting project. So like I said earlier, we're doing this painting in our house. We had a professional painter come in and do some projects for us. Here is his sticker. He gave me some stickers. I was super excited about that. So I'm putting one in here, and I also put one in my journal and a few in just other places and other projects. But if you've been following me for a while, I've been working on decorating my house for the past few years, and we did a lot of painting projects ourselves, but it's come to the point where there's a couple rooms that we just really don't want to do ourselves because they are a little bit more difficult, like the bathroom behind the tub and the toilet and everything, and the entryway, which is, like a huge 2-story ceiling. So we hired a professional painter, and he started the first project that we hired him for this week, which is the bathroom. So that looking forward card I used to journal about starting this project and just generally looking forward to the home improvement projects we have planned for the first part of 2026. I thought that was a great way to kind of start out the year with just kind of that looking forward or perspective journaling. Sometimes in my project life, I do really like to do those perspective stories of kind of where am I right now. So here's a look at the completed spread. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And as always, I hope to see you guys on the next one. Bye.